shopping on Amazon today. I was thinking about getting some USB Ethernet adapters because Amazon's like, we'll give you free same-day delivery if you order more than $25. I thought, okay. But then I thought, I thought I saw that Final Fantasy VII for the PS5, the first part, the Remake Intergrade. I thought I saw that for a reasonable price. I thought. I hop on over to take a look-see, and I notice this. We got two versions of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Both of them appear to be PS5. But one of them priced $145 fucking dollars, and another is priced $33.99. And I thought, wow, it's kind of interesting. What the hell's the price difference about? So I started digging in, took a look, and I eventually realized, looking through the reviews, that this version, the cheap version, is actually the UK version. So right out the gate, false advertising, right? Amazon straight up fucked up the listing for the UK version right here. So this should say Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade PS5 UK version, which, because the PS5 is region locked, won't work on your PS5 if you're an American and you have an American PS5. I began to think, okay, the US version's getting the rare game treatment now, right? Like, I'm so old, I remember when Xenogears PS1 discs, like in box and everything, would go for $70. I'm so old, I remember getting Chrono Trigger for the Super Nintendo at Toys R Us in 1996, I believe, for about $70 when it was brand new. At $70 in 1996 terms, right? Like, we do a little price inflation calculator. I'll be able to edit this video and make it more streamlined. If we do a price inflation, $70 in January of 1996. So a $70 game in 1996 is approximately $143 today, right? Now, isn't that interesting? I didn't even anticipate this result, but it seems that games that were considered rare, like even years after Chrono Trigger came out, like as a 20-year-old, so like almost 19 years ago now. Jesus, I'm fucking old. Holy shit. Don't judge me. I am your gaming elder, and you will respect me. All of you fucking kids, get in line. Anyway, I didn't anticipate that result. It seems that a $70 game from when I was a kid is approximately worth similar in 2025. So the American PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, it's approximately going for about the same price that Chrono Trigger went when it was brand new. If we do one-to-one, kind of like if $1 in 1996 is the same as what it would be now, it's basically literally getting the same rare game treatment that Xenogears, Chrono Trigger, and other similar rare games got back in the day. Why is this a big deal? Why is Final Fantasy VII getting the rare game treatment? Well, I took a look. Actually went through the product page understand exactly what it is I'm getting here and come to this part. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is an enhanced and expanded version of the critically acclaimed and award-winning Final Fantasy VII Remake for the PlayStation 5. Remake Intergrade comes bundled with the brand new episode featuring Yuffie as the main character, which introduces an exhilarating new story arc and numerous gameplay additions for players to enjoy. Okay. Well, that seems pretty cool. Until you find out that what happened is that they're distributing, or were distributing, the voucher code for the game inside the game box, right? So this created a problem. The problem is that people who, bought the game brand new would redeem this voucher code. The voucher code's no longer good. And then they go to sell the game, and because the voucher code's no longer there, it's no longer usable, it's less content that people are able to get. So copies that don't have the voucher code redeemed ended up going up in price, right? This makes sense. It's rare content now. This is a little bit upsetting. As a kid, we theorized and fantasized about a Final Fantasy VII Remake. Am I actually going to buy a copy of this game for $150 so that I can play the full content? Maybe I can get it for a little bit cheaper. I'm more upset about Amazon fucking up the product listing on the UK version, honestly. But at the same time, I could talk about ways that Sony could have avoided this situation. Not that it's a big deal, but as someone who's into Final Fantasy in general, I feel like I should say something. Voucher codes. That's just fucking lazy. When the game first came out, I was afraid. I was afraid that Squaresoft was going to fuck it up. Plain and simple. It was 2016, and I was watching a lot of things be reborn. Dragon Ball Super had just dropped, and before I knew it, they were over 100 episodes in. And I thought, hadn't they done everything they wanted to do with Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z Kai, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball? Did we really need another Dragon Ball? And even now, there's like that Dama, like Dragon Ball Dama, or something like that. Just came out too. And I thought, I know why Squaresoft released this. It's because they're dying. They're dying as a company. They had fumbled the bag so many times up to that point. It's kind of like when, going back in history, I remember when Final Fantasy The Spirits Within came out. Do y'all remember that movie? Spirits Within was a movie, like a standalone Final Fantasy movie, with its own story, its own characters, its own plot. At the time, the graphics were completely groundbreaking. And that's been something that I can historically say is positive about Squaresoft, is that over time they have put so much effort into graphics that they have created some of the most beautiful environments in all of gaming history. And further, for given points in history, they've also been at the forefront of these new forms of graphics. In fact, I remember they created an entirely new engine just for Final Fantasy 13. And it shows, because I believe I would not be surprised if they're not still iterating upon the Crystal engine at this point, because graphics have always been one of their biggest selling points. And even as the games have gotten worse, the graphics quality has just always been, off the chain. Like, we can't argue that. But they released Spirits Within because they had fumbled the bag with some recent releases at that point. And actually, no, I take that back. They released Final Fantasy Spirits Within as sort of an experiment. It was a bad experiment. They fumbled the bag really hard. They spent a lot of money to make the movie, and then it just dropped off. They didn't get the returns that they were looking for. So why is that a big deal? Well, immediately afterwards, to recoup their losses, they released, or rather re-released, several games on the PlayStation. They re-released Final Fantasy VI. They released Chrono Trigger. They re-released Final Fantasy IV. And then they did something unexpected. They released Final Fantasy V for the first time in the United States. Final Fantasy V is one of those titles that for the longest time was unavailable to Western audiences, similar to Final Fantasy 2 and 3. The original 2 and 3, not like how 4 was released as 2 and 6 was released as 3. And they ended up skipping 5 and the real 2 and 3 somehow. I actually think they did release the real 2, and then they skipped 3. So I think they skipped 3 and 5, because 3 later saw its debut in the US in the form of Final Fantasy 3DS. So whenever Square makes these sorts of decisions to do the unexpected, it's because their experiments up till that point have failed. A lot of their mobile games have not hit as heavy as some of the games over in Korea or China. Mobile gaming, being as big as it is, does not necessarily play so well with the cinematic presentation that they seek to offer in a lot of their titles. I still think that there's a huge market for just sit at home on your couch, in your gaming chair, at your TV, at your PC, with big ass screen. There's still a huge market for all that stuff. And clearly, because I'm willing to even consider paying $150 for a brand new copy of the first remake of Final Fantasy VII. We used to joke that they were going to one day remake it, because at the time, Final Fantasy VII was so groundbreaking for the PlayStation, even with its shitty polygon character graphics sitting on top of nicely rendered visuals. It was still the best that we had at the time, and it was fucking amazing. And then they did the tech demo of Final Fantasy VII on the PS3, giving us an idea of what it might look like were it to come out, and people got really excited. They thought, oh my god, they're going to do it. And then they didn't do it. They didn't do it, and then the PS4 came out, and they didn't do it again. But then they announced Remake. And it happened at a time in my life when I was very suspicious of these corporate decisions being made, like the release of Dragon Ball Super. I was tripping about capitalism at the time, and I thought, they must be dying, because otherwise, why would they need to go through all this effort to make a new thing? And lots of things have been made since then. Lots of good things, lots of bad things. So is it worth $150? The new Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade with the Yuffie content? Is it worth $150? I see used copies. I see used copies going for $119. Only one left in stock. Order soon. Add to cart. Buy now. Go to cart. All right. Well, I just bought it. $145. All right. Well, I said everything I wanted to say. I was just really disappointed at Amazon on this one because total false advertising, big fuck up on their part. We're going to go ahead and tell them that they need to fix that shit. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.